she went smoky today, didn't she? Hi, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are having an absolutely magical start to your week. We are talking about every toddler's favorite ride, Autopia, and we're just gonna get ready for a day together. So grab your coffee, get ready, and if you like this video while you're watching, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss a magical makeup Monday again. Now, past Grace is gonna show you how we got this look and tell you all about today's story, Autopia. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a magical start to your week. Today we are talking about a fun little attraction that I'm pretty sure is a toddler's little dream. Autopia. Fun fact, Autopia is the last opening day attraction in Tomorrowland in Disneyland. Now, quick refresher on the ride. Picture this. You take a quick cruise down a winding road in a classic convertible. These cars come fully loaded with a gas pedal and a steering wheel. Each car can fit 2 adults or 3 children. Children who are 32 inches tall are allowed to ride the ride, but must be accompanied by an adult. This ride may sound familiar to you even though it's not called Autopia, basically because it has a different ride name in Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom, we call this ride Tomorrowland Speedway, but for my European friends, you might know this as Autopia in Disneyland Paris. There were 2 additional rides in Tokyo and Hong Kong, but those have since closed to make room for other attractions. So clearly this ride is loved. I mean, it was at 5 of the 6 parks in the world. So like, how did we get here today? Well, let me introduce you to a man named Milt Albright. Milt is actually Walt Disney Studios' accountant, and he actually just happened to love cars. Quote, "I was working at the studio and heard rumors of plans for a big amusement park. I immediately asked for a transfer, which turned out to be a big no-no of studio policy. But I found out there was an attraction to be called Autopia. Working nights and weekends for about 8 months, I made a little car in my garage, fiberglass body and all. When it was finished, I hauled it over to the studio." End quote. Milt Albright. As you might have guessed, Walt was really intrigued and ended up taking the car for a spin, which was great, except for one small exception. The car didn't have any brakes. The only way Walt could actually stop the car was to crash into a wall. Needless to say, Walt decided against the prototype that his accountant had made. Don't worry about Milt though. Walt ends up hiring him as an accounting manager at Disneyland. I don't know if you agree, but I kind of think it's better if that guy sticks to numbers, you know? Breaks are kind of important. Little bit. Brownie points for trying though, right? If I tried to go out and create a model working car, I wouldn't get very far. So the fact that this guy actually got that far and it actually ran, he forgot about the brakes, but it ran, pretty impressive, I think. Anywho, we have a great concept here, but no way to execute. Walt decides that he actually needs a team of experts to help bring this concept into life. So Walt sets out and reaches out to a former employee of Walt Disney Studios, Herbert Ryman. Within 1 weekend, Ryman was able to produce an entire drawing of the park and the freeway of the future, aka Autopia. Another person to introduce is Roger Broggie Sr. Now Roger reached out to a company in West Germany to fabricate a small yellow and green 2-stroke engine-powered auto. He was also tasked to figure out the bumper system on the ride. Unfortunately, when the models came back from Germany, Walt disapproved of them, so they basically had to just start over. This time, Hartman Engineering Company would come in and they would be the ones to be hired to design a prototype of the vehicle. Now, with the manufacturing in place, Bob Iwerks refers Bob Gurr to Walt Disney and Roger Broggie. Now, Bob had a big reputation in the automobile industry and even worked for Ford at one point. Bob Gurr would work with Hartman to kind of work out some kinks that they found in the prototypes. Bob Gurr would work with Hartman Engineering to rework some key problem areas. After Bob put all of that work in, Hartman Engineering lost interest and dropped the project altogether, and nobody really knows why. Super big bummer, and now back to the drawing board yet again. Remember the prototype from Germany that Walt basically scrapped? Yeah, well, that was basically Bob Gurr's inspiration. Quote, "It vibrated horribly and made so much smoke and noise, but that car was an inspiration to me because I decided that I could show everybody that Disney could really have a terrific looking Autopia car, end quote, Bob Gurr. With his newfound inspiration, Bob decided to set off and design a new model. And let me tell you, that inspiration surely worked, because it only took about a week for Bob to come up with some initial sketches of what the vehicle should look like. Essentially, if a 1954 Porsche 500 Spyder and a custom Italian Ferrari had a little baby, that's what the sketches would look like. Literally a baby though. The car is supposed to be small. With the model in place, Maimco, a small engineering firm, would construct the entire first fleet of 40 vehicles. These vehicles would be approved with a top speed of 11 miles per hour. Really fast, right? Guess if you're a toddler, 11 miles per hour feels speedy. Each vehicle would be equipped with 2 accelerator pedals, an automatic transmission, a spring-loaded braking system, a 7-to-1 rack and pinion style steering wheel, foam dashboards, chrome handrails, bench seats, and sealed beam headlights. The vehicle is finished off nicely with a fiberglass body, which was constructed by Bill Tritt's Classpar of Costa Mesa, California. One car alone weighed 474 pounds. That's heavy. Fun fact, there's actually footage of Michael Broggie Jr. test driving the vehicle with Bob Gurr. I'll link the video down below because I think it's super cool that we have footage of the originals actually being tested. With the vehicles in place, it was time to make some, other touches made to the ride. Nothing like too crazy, just some like trees and marketing media and, some drawings to go along with the ride. Again, nothing too crazy here. Another fun fact for you guys, Bob Gurr actually wanted like a bus type vehicle to transport the younger tots around who couldn't actually drive the car, they weren't tall enough, around the track. Unfortunately, those plans never actually came to fruition. 2 days before press preview day, newspapers would give a sneak preview of the Richfield Autopia Freeway of the Future. Yep, that's right, Richfield, the corporation, ended up sponsoring the ride. And just like that, 2 short days later, the attraction had its opening day during press preview day. But preview day, it didn't go quite as planned, which isn't shocking for Disney at this point, at least for me, I think. Quote, "Twice as many people showed up, and they all had the attitude that they were going to ride those cars no matter what. Instead of waiting in line like they should have, they were jumping over the fences and running up the track and commandeering cars coming back into the load area and pulling people out of the cars and taking over the cars themselves. Nobody had anticipated this, and it was a complete madhouse." End quote. Bob Gurr. Believe it or not, the attraction actually debuted without any tracks. Just kind of crazy to think about. The fleet of cars they once had quickly turned into just 6 due to, as you can imagine, collisions, injuries, etc. Finally, the team decided that it was probably time to add in Roger Broggie's bumper system. Remember when he invented that? Yeah, we're bringing it back now. With a tight timeline, Maimco went to work. Luckily, 32 cars marched in and were bumper ready to go for opening day. Unfortunately, a bumper alone was not going to stop crashes and injuries. After riding the bumpy attraction, guests would receive an Autopia's driver's license. Disneyland would give them out from 1955 to 1960. Fun fact, when the attraction first opened in Disneyland, it was supposed to represent the future of America and multi-lane highways that were still being developed. By the end of 1955, 40 new Autopia cars had arrived called the Mark IIs. As we have seen with many other Disney attractions, this ride also evolved throughout the years. On July 23rd, 1956, Richfield Autopia Jr. opened. This one was suited for our younger guests. Unfortunately, this attraction closed a few years later to transform it into Super Autopia, a second multi-layer track. Now, the vehicles started to evolve over time, so Prototype 3 was made, then Prototype 4, but the cars aren't something I really want to focus on. Fast forward to the summer of 1956, the ride gets something it desperately needs: tracks. Now, over the years, the tracks and cars would go through various iterations, and voila, you have the car and track system that we have today. I'm sure your toddler is so happy. The attraction will also go through a few iterations of sponsors. So Richfield obviously is not the sponsor today and didn't continue the sponsorship for the lifetime of the attraction. Chevron would come in and also sponsor the ride for a short period of time before it was taken over by Honda. Today, if you go to Disneyland, you'll see Honda still sponsors it today. I will say, this isn't my favorite attraction at Disney. I have ridden the Tomorrowland Speedway, and yeah, it's definitely not my personal favorite. I could see how a toddler would love this attraction though. Let's just say you can definitely hear and smell the ride before you actually see the ride. Gas fumes for literal days. And I'm not joking. If you haven't been to Magic Kingdom, I swear, like the second you're around the teacups, you just get a whiff of gasoline. This is also a ride that gets a festive overlay for the Christmas parties. They put fun Christmas lights and you drive around and you can see a bunch of like the big monuments lit up, especially at Magic Kingdom. You could see Space Mountains all lit up nice and pretty for the very Merry Christmas party. You could see the castle. It really is quite a cute attraction. It's just, it's stinky, you know? She's stinky. Again, if you have a young toddler, I would definitely prioritize this ride. But if your family doesn't have a toddler and you're kind of a little past that age, you have somebody who's like probably like 10, 9, 10, and a little older, I don't think this one should be a top priority for your group, especially if you're going to like Magic Kingdom, Disneyland. I think there's definitely some other attractions you might want to prioritize over this one. But again, look into the ride. You know the backstory of it. It doesn't go very fast. It's on a track. It smells. Sorry, but it just does. It's really stinky. I would definitely rank your must-dos and see where this one falls, is all I'm saying. Helpful hint, if you do have a toddler that really does want to ride this attraction, is that this one actually is available on Genie Plus if you're in the States. I know Genie Plus can be a true hassle and just another added cost, but it can really help plan your day, especially if there's certain must-do attractions that you really want to ride. Tomorrowland Speedway can actually get a little bit of a long line, and it's not the most riveting attraction. As I've kind of said, there is, you know, the smell. I don't know how your family would react to that. So yeah, just sit down and prioritize the rides with your family. I feel like I'm being kind of negative about this, and I don't mean it to come off in that way. It's just that there are so many heavy hitters, especially in Magic Kingdom, that I think you definitely have to sit down and think about what's best for you and your family. Well, I hope you enjoyed getting ready with me today. I know I really enjoyed learning about today's attraction and found it so interesting to see how many iterations of the cars it actually took to get to the final product. I know between 1955 and 1956, they had at least 4 iterations of the car, and it took them a while to get to tracks, which is a little bit alarming, but that's okay. Well, anyway, this is the final look for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. If you did, let me know down below. Otherwise, friends, I hope you have a magical rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!